Hello everybody, welcome back to Minecraft Build Hacks. 1.19 has just released its first little experimental snapshot on Java Edition, and I'm so excited. It's been so long since I've been able to do one of these. 1.18 didn't add a single new block. But yes, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks that we've never been able to experiment with before in this little update. So it's time for me to do some build hacks on it. I'm not going to do any on this little Sculk sensor here because we already did a video on it a very long time ago. And so yeah, it's going to be mostly focused on this. There's going to be a couple builds with this. I just wanted to show it off because it's officially added into this snapshot here. But yeah, let's get right into this. We have this Sculk Vein, Sculk Catalyst, Sculk Shrieker, and Reinforced Deep Slate. I really like the Reinforced Deep Slate, although I'm not completely sure if we're going to be able to get it in survival, but hopefully we're going to be able to get it in survival because it's a really nice block, and I have a lot of hacks with it because it's just a very fun block to build with. But anyway, there's one more thing that I wanted to say before we get started. Endstone in this update, I actually like building with Endstone now. I've never liked building with endstone, but now I actually like it because it goes so well with this stuff. It just looks so good. Okay, I'm very eager to get started. I even built up some non-spoiler walls for you guys. So let's get on to the very first one over here. I built a gradient with endstone, just like I was just talking about. Look at this, endstone, end bricks, then the Sculk Catalyst, Sculk blocks, and the Sculk sensor. They go like very well together. Look at this little mound that I just made. In like a couple minutes I made this, and it looks very cool. I really like it. And even the warped vines, the twisting vines, all of the warp stuff go very well with the Sculk blocks. Just look at this. It looks so alive. It doesn't look like a regular mountain. It looks like it's a living creature. I really like this. But anyway, let's get on to the very next one. I built like a little bar here. Look at this bar. It's very nice. I'm sure you've all seen this little hack before with the beds. It kind of looks like a beer. Just really squint at it. You'll see it. Like the foam and then the actual beer down there. Yeah, you get it. And then over here is the floor. Look at this. Look at this floor. I really like this block. It's very nice. Look at the squares in it. And then the corners are circles. I really like this block, and I really hope that it is not impossible to get in survival mode because it's really nice to build with. And then over here, this is the main feature of this little thing. These little legs for this chair and table. I've never seen anybody do this with these before, but I think it's kind of neat. It's kind of weird, but it's also very interesting. It's like a chair. If you had it at your house, all your guests would be like, whoa, where'd you buy that chair? It'd make you a very interesting person if you had this kind of chair. But anyways, let's move on to the very next one, and it's just an end portal. Yep, but it has the Sculk blocks inside of it, so it kind of looks like it is an end portal. Look, there's an actual end portal there. If I move around, look at that. It kind of looks trippy. Look at that. That's so weird. But anyway, it's not very useful, but you could probably be rude and just get rid of the end portal and put these there, and then people will get mad at you. I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to show you guys that you could put Sculk veins on top of a warp trapdoor and just make it very thin. So you can just kind of place it on thin air, but it's not really on thin air because it's on a trapdoor. But that's the thinnest you can get it in survival mode without barriers. And then I have this wall design that I built right here. I bet you could build like a really cool castle with this wall design. I just kind of was experimenting with the gradients between these two and stuff. But I did build something with a very similar wall design in a couple builds later. I'll just get to that when I get to it. But for the next one right now, we are going more into the Reinforced Deep Slate. Look at the top of it. It has like a square, and you can fit lots of blocks that don't take up a full block. And you can just place them until it'll be aligned within the square. The wall is the exact same size as the little square inside of there. So I place it, it completely covers it. And then these are just kind of inside of the square there. And then also if you just want to use these little outlines to outline things, if you put it on the deep slate tiles, it will completely blend in. Look at the ender chest, like just the little outlines of these little items here. I really like it, and I really like the ender chest one the most because you use it so much in survival. It just make it just pointed out like that little block has the ender chest on it, just those little points there. I really like it. I don't know why. It's just very interesting. But on to the next one. This is the one I was talking about before with the interesting wall design. This is probably one of my favorite builds in this video. Let me just enter here real quick. Don't worry about that. That's just hide the lighting. But look at this. It is a I don't know if I want to call it a church, but it is a church, but it's definitely hasn't been a church for a while. Over here we have an altar with the Skull Shrieker, and I put a light blue beacon through it. I really like that, and I also put a Skull Shrieker at the top because the beacons can go through it, but they cannot go through the Sculk block. But they look the same on the bottom, so I just put that there so the beacon would go through it. And then I just had the Sculk blocks just kind of leaking out of where the altar is hitting, so it kind of looks like it's definitely spreading some alien kind of stuff in this church here. It's definitely not good, and there's floating candles everywhere. Yeah, so someone has been doing stuff in here that it probably shouldn't be doing, okay? I think it looks very, very cool in this little church here. Also, if I look over here, this fences kind of line up perfectly with the reinforced deep slate. The reinforced deep slate really makes good, like, windowsills or window outliners, whatever you want to call it. Just on the side of windows, these look very, very good in like a medieval build. And also, if you put the Sculk behind any window, it doesn't even have to be a fence window. It doesn't even have to be medieval, but if you put the Sculk behind the windows, it looks like it's like in a different dimension. Like the entire building is in a different dimension if you look this way. Don't look this way, it kind of ruins it, but yeah. Anyways, let's get on to the very next one over here. This one takes a little bit of imagination, but just don't look at the outside, even though I just stared at it for a minute. Just pretend that we're inside of a giant rocket ship. I built a giant rocket ship, don't worry. Don't even look outside. We're just inside of a giant rocket ship. And this is the view outside. There's planets and everything. All of the Sculk just looks like the night sky. I really like this. I really like it. Oh, the Sculk just looks so much like outer space. It's definitely a very good block to use if you're wanting to make that kind of effect. All right, next one up is, yes, this one. This one's focusing on like the little effect that the Sculk Shrieker makes. See that little effect? Here, let me flip the camera upside down for you. If I flip the camera upside down, it kind of looks like the cow is being sucked up by a UFO. It's just a concept. And then over here we have like a radio tower with it, which will do the exact same thing. See that effect up there? Very hard to see, but yeah, it pretty much does the exact same thing as that one. This one is just sending out radio waves into the air instead of sucking up a cow into a UFO. All right, then this one is, oh yes, so let's pretend that we're a witch, and this is just our little cauldron. It's not a regular cauldron, it has souls inside of it just floating around in there. Look at those, look at that animation. It's very, very cool. I love it. And this is just my head inside of a glass on top of the Shrieker. It kind of looks a little creepy, but yeah, that's all that one is. And then I made this kind of custom block with a sea lantern, and I covered it with the Sculk veins, and you can use this for like mushrooms or some moldy cheese. And it also looks a lot like magma if you put it next to it. It's like the opposite of magma. Like if you stand on magma, you get hot. This one you get cold and feel gross. All right, then this one, I really like this one too. I got the floating glass for an effect. I just kind of used all of the things we have talked about so far. More of the warped little plants here, and just kind of made a path to a nether portal, which also looks very mystical, so it fits in very well with the Sculk blocks. And I used the Sculk Shrieker with the beacon once again. I really like this one. I might actually build this one in survival, but getting these reinforced deep slate is probably not gonna be something that I will do early game in survival, so maybe not. But something very similar to this may be in Lab Season 3. We'll see. But time for the very, very final one. Over here, we built an arcade. And yes, it's not a very good arcade. I didn't spend much time on the machines, but the floor is the main attraction here. It looks like an arcade floor. I don't know what it is about arcade floors. It's just looking very sparkly in like a outer space. But yes, I think this very much fits as an arcade floor. Have a great day, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. I'm very glad to be making these kinds of videos again. I hope they release more new blocks in following snapshots of the wild update, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Goodbye. Bye 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 bye.